That's right.
All right, I got time at 6:30, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Note that 6 of the board members are present. Dr. Richter is absent at this time. And I think he's probably on his way. So hopefully he'll be here shortly. And with that, if you'll stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And item 3 on our agenda is for presentations, recognitions, and celebrations. And I'll turn those over to Dr. Battership.
And I'm going to turn that over to Billy. Our bands have been doing really, really, really well lately. So we wanted to do 2 things. I wanted Billy to be able to talk about his bands and what they've been doing lately. And then we've just got a wonderful assistant right now. And I wanted him to introduce Ms. Medina and give her some kudos too for something he did last week.
So, yeah, we've had when a band program goes through so many changes like the last few years, sometimes you don't see what we are able to do. And we were able to pull off some good success in the fall. And then for UIL a couple weeks ago, they were judging hard, and we were one of 6 bands of the day to go superior on stage. So that was nice, and we got this for that. And then we also had some solo and ensemble participants that all but one got superior ratings as well, and one also earned his way to state solo contest as well. So we've got some good things happening as a group and also as individuals as well. So we're really proud of them.
Proud of you, Billy. Thank you.
As you know, when we get into this position as administrators, it was told to me, you go to the dark side. So when you go to the dark side, you kind of have to do some things that you're not really sure about and how they're going to pan out. So when we're hiring new people, we're always looking for that good fit. We're always looking for someone that's enthusiastic and what can they do for our kids, because that's our main goal is it going to be good for kids and how can we make it better? Whenever we had our band directors change over, we had some empty spots and we were struggling to find new people. And we had Miss Medina right here. She was graduating from TC
and TAWCT. Yep.
Both. And so we went and snatched her up and said, hey, you want to be our assistant? And she came in, interviewed, and she did a wonderful job. As we are administrators, we're growing our teachers. So our first 3 years, we're looking at classroom management. That's what we focus on to make sure. If you get your classroom management down, then everything else will flow. This lady here, as a first-year teacher, was performing like a 3-year teacher in front of those 6th graders last year and presenting herself. Everybody that came in to help our kids have written notes. And I think Mr. Craig had shared one with you that we had someone come in and he wrote a great letter about both Mr. Geraci and Miss Medina. He just said he's never really had anybody that flowed like the 2 of them together and how the band performed, because he had gone from a 6A and come down to a 2A, and they were even better than some of the 6A. So to hear these kids as 7th graders now, and how many ones were given?
All 6 judges gave the 7th grade band a superior rating of a 1. So
Yes. And they were the only 7th grade only band.
correct.
Everybody else had combinations of 7th and 8th grade, but they were the only 7th grade only band, and they received ones all the way across.
Wow.
So I am really excited to watch this band grow, because that's been our mission, is to get more kids involved. And bringing this lady in has done that. The kids love her. She's extra hard. She does all that extra stuff. So thank you for what you do, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So much.
Thank you.
And this is a small token of appreciation, but it is small compared with the amount of time that's put in, but we really do thank you. And the school district always looks at challenge, that we challenge staff, we challenge kids, and that's in our vision statement and our mission statement, and you've hit it. So thank you, continue to challenge all of us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Billy, thank you for everything. Great team, great team.
All right. We can move on to item 4, which is public comments. Didn't see any full-fledged forms filled out. There's a bigger crowd here. I assume nobody wanted to speak, just if you missed to sign in. Correct? Okay. All right. We can move on to item 5, which is the superintendent's report.
Under the superintendent's report, we have several items, and I'm going to come out of order because we have several people here from our curriculum and instruction team. And curriculum was on one of my pieces of my report, and they have other things they need to do tonight, including going and hearing the finals for One Act Play. So I would like to turn it over to Amanda Dodd. Amanda, this is her first foray at a K through 12 curriculum position, and we're so grateful that Amanda's here. I am really grateful that Amanda's here. And so I think she'll take us to a whole another level with alignment and depth and complexity of instruction. In this process, she's going to tell you about as part of it. Amanda.
Okay, so we have not had a real solid process for choosing curriculum and adopting it and purchasing it for a while. And this semester, we have sat down and come up with a plan that is working well. I think everyone is happy. We have science is an adoption year this year, so we're gonna have to do it for science regardless, but the elementary has had some holes with reading and math as well. And Dr. Dockery has worked endlessly to form committees. And so step 1 is we have formed teacher committees. The teacher committees are looking at all of the aligned curriculum that align with our teacher resource system and with TEA. They have missed their planning periods and have stayed late at school to meet with companies and sales reps and to have Zoom meetings and attend trainings, and they have sampled things and have spent a lot of their extra time outside of their teaching roles to taste a lot of different curriculums. And we have come to a decision on science and reading and phonics at the elementary level, and math is next. We are still working on math. That one is going to take a couple more weeks because it's that adoption is coming up the following year, and no one is releasing new samples right now, and so all the samples that we get are old samples, and we're waiting for some new stuff to come out so that we don't purchase something that is going to go outdated fairly quickly. So this is part of our process. We have our committees. They have worked a lot and sampled a lot. And the second part of our process is to have them, they met with the staff and they submitted their ideas to the staff. Staff agreed that this is what the direction we want to go. And then the next step is you guys. So we have our teacher teams here, and they are going to let you know what they have selected and why they selected it, and give you the good points about it. And then later on in the meeting, when it's an action item, then you guys will vote to approve it or to not approve it, and then we'll move from there. So since it's a science year, Ms. Dodd is here for our science curriculum. This is a program that will align us kindergarten through 8th grade. There's also a supplement that we're gonna get for middle school, but the teacher that would present that is on maternity leave. So if you need information on that one, then when she's back, we can have her come in and talk about it. But Ms. Dodd's gonna tell you about STEM scopes. This is what the curriculum selection is for Rogers ISD for science.
Yes, and first of all, I just want to thank you guys for letting us be a part of this process. Thank you, Dr. Dockery, for letting us be a part of this process. What goes into our classrooms is extremely important to us because our kids are our kids. So we did choose STEM scopes for elementary. I have paperwork for you to look at. It's got the student benefits, the teacher benefits, and I'm going to give you some homework.
I was hoping there was no homework.
All right, so having a STEM classroom allows students to approach science as scientists. So there's going to be a lot of hands-on with STEM scopes. It provides inclusive learning. It promotes critical thinking. It encourages curiosity. It fosters collaboration, builds confidence, and like Amanda said, I think the most important thing is adopting it K through 5. Our kids are going to be able to build from year to year without having to learn a new platform. So I think it's going to be extremely, the vocabulary is going to be the same. And I think we can just pick up where they left off from one grade level and move on. So I think that's going to be very, very good for our kiddos. And the teacher benefits, it's all the same. There's multiple avenues for us to use in our classroom. It's digital, we can print it out, we can, there's videos that we can use that are already there for us. The biggest thing is going to be the instruction kits that are available for each grade level. It'll have the stuff that we need for experiments in a kit, and we can just go and pull from that, so it'll be ready. It will be awesome. Okay. On the back side of this, it's a review that I pulled from the Curriculum Review Board in Austin, empowering educators to choose. And I bolded a couple of words, phenomena, and this is your homework. Next year, phenomena is a big word in the new TEATS for next year. And so I want you guys to come up and talk to our kids about what phenomena is. Okay.
Board, do you have any questions for Ms. Dawn?
I like alignment, K through 5, sounds great.
That's great. And I got your picture.
You say it would align K through 5 or just K through 8?
So we're gonna purchase it K through 8,
Okay.
and our 6th grade science teacher has a program that she's currently using and is very successful with, and we're gonna get that as a supplement. But we're gonna have STEM scopes K through 8 because it aligns all the way up through K through 8.
I appreciate the work. It's refreshing to see
The teachers
just
have
put in front of us
the
the way it
teachers have
has.
put a
you
lot of
guys
work
did.
into
Yeah.
this.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's science, and now we have our reading and phonics team.
This doesn't have homework, does it?
Homework. And we actually don't have paperwork for you guys either. We're the slackers, I guess. We just kind of wanted to tell you about the different curriculums we looked at. There were several. We looked at McGraw-Hill, Horizons. We are currently using Benchmark right now. And it was something, I mean, it's good, but it wasn't as good as, we ended up picking HMH for our phonics and our reading because they were both tied together. If we would have picked one of the other curriculums, we had to find, like if we picked Horizons for phonics, we would have had to have picked a different program for reading. So we picked the one that was actually combined with both, where that way it's a little bit easier for our teachers and it vertically aligns through, so.
And the phonics curriculum is approved by the state of Texas on the phonics compliant list. So that's a good thing for us as well. So we're recommending HMH into reading as our 2024-25 elementary curriculum K through 5 for reading.
I'm glad to see phonics coming back. It's so
Absolutely.
full. Oh, my.
For sure.
Oh. Lori, do you have any questions on H? He's going, yes.
Yes.
Come on. Do you have any questions on HMH or the process that they went through?
We're gonna need to see some paperwork.
We get you
Okay.
paperwork.
We'll email you everything.
Yeah.
You take it, you take a
I
look at
do,
it.
just because I have been through this before, so I know, you'll do small groups still with the younger grades, right?
Yes.
Does this have like the readers for the small group included?
Yes,
Has
it
to
does.
cover readers.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all included.
Yes.
That's the best.
Yes, very important. That's
All
one
right.
thing that we were looking for too as well.
Thank y'all.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be back with math.
Okay, so probably in April, Matt, you think Beth will be ready? I want to thank you, staff, teachers, experts, and all the time that went into making selections. I mean, these are not done lightly. I mean, this takes an enormous amount of time. And you think about, it doesn't last for a day. I mean, this is at least a year, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. So You talked, it just changed the whole landscape of the district, so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. Board, anything else on that? Mr. Caldwell, do you wish to vote now or later on those two? You can do either.
Probably rather just stick with our
Okay,
order and just do it.
okay, go ahead, go.
I don't see anybody not voting for that.
But teachers, I know that you'll have a lot of things you need to do, so please feel free and go. And I want to take both of your pictures with the boards because that's something I did not do last month and I swore I was going to do. So if y'all would come up and stand with the board and come up to the chin. I'll put you.
Now I can stand.
Can y'all come up to me?
Do you want to say
Billy and I did.
Oh, okay, that
was
Right in
center.
there. There you go, there you go, there you go.
Trophies.
Thank you, thank you, that's great, thank you. Teachers, thanks.
Thank
Thank you.
again. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Moving
Looks
on
great.
with the superintendent's report is underneath district information, enrollment and attendance data. In February, we had enrollment data of 891 students. In March, we had 883. It's dropped some. 891 was the high for the year. So that's, I don't know that that's unusual. 883 is really at our average. Underneath attendance, in February, the attendance rate was 93.52. It's now in March, 93.39. We knew that we had a lot of illnesses that came through, and so you're going to see that in that. Our high for the year as far as attendance was back in October and November is 96.66. Again, that trend is pretty typical among Texas school districts, probably school districts across the United States. Underneath your financial report, there are several in here, finances and your tax collections. The percentage of tracking for your profit and loss is spot on. So you should be at the end of the year right at your budget projections for both revenue and for expenditures. Quarterly investment report is in there as well. And again, that is earning what it's supposed to through by board governance, board policy committee. Brad, my bad again. Not March 24th, March 21st. It is correct at the bottom, but March the 21st at 5:30. So board policy committee will be meeting either in my office or in this room. And yes, that is tomorrow. And then just because you have a lot of meetings coming up, I did put all those meetings listed down there at the bottom so that you can see those. Eclipse parent letter is going out to parents from campuses and whatever modem or modus operandi that they use to communicate with parents. Underneath student services, we have analyzed our transfer students. We have identified those students and parents who have demonstrated chronic absenteeism in each of the campuses. Will be in touch with those parents to determine what's going on. And parents need to know that anybody that's here on a transfer, I mean, that's a grace. And so they need to be at school if at all possible. Superintendent student advisory, just a delight. I gave you a list of their top 7, and they pretty much track with what all of us adults talk about. Under human resources, we're looking at job fairs that we can attend. Facilities, road issues, I gave you an update on 437 specifically. Keep Rogers Beautiful Day is Saturday, April the 27th from 9 to noon. We have 2 sets of projects. One project is painting, and JP is going to work with Jason and I to manage the people that volunteer to help us with some painting projects. And then our other projects are in the line of landscaping, and our ag department will be working with us on that and spearheading that. So please let people know, anybody and everybody is welcome to attend. We have lots and lots and lots of projects. Our early childhood playground equipment has been ordered. Hopefully that will be in before too long. Demographer report, I gave you a little information, my opinion on demographer reports. Legislative agenda, I will not read this, but I will say this. This last legislative session was a booger. and I don't think it's gonna get any better. I know that your plates are really full right now. Legislative advocacy is something that board members and superintendents really have to take on for their districts that they serve. And so when you go into next year with your new superintendent, really pay more attention than usual to that legislative agenda, because there will be a new one coming out going into the next legislative session. And you will have new legislators down there. So it may be a very interesting session. Someone asked me if I expected a special session. No, not at this juncture because of how the election came out. Special session is probably our only hope for public ed to get more funding that we can put into teacher salaries. So I think we're gonna have another really lean finance year, and Tracy and I began working on that one. Underneath your consent agenda items, you were sent minutes from various meetings that you've had lately, and that will need to be approved.
So we're on our consent agenda items, okay? Any questions on those consent agenda? All right, so I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move.
A motion from Mr. Shervinka, second from Mr. Green. And all those in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 6-0. And then looks like we can move into our action items. First one is to consideration and approval of administrator contracts.
I've given you a list of my recommendations for administrators for the school district for next year. There are quite a few changes on this. I want to thank the administrators for all that they do for the school district. It's a tough job. And Rogers is in a real time of transition, and so those jobs get harder at this point in time. But I'm recommending Dr. Levi Moses, Lucinda Smith, Tanya Daughtry, Jackie Hankey, Brittany Uselton, and Charles Roten for one-year extensions. You see the end date for those extensions. And then two new ones on this list are Amanda Dodd as curriculum director. Hers would be a Chapter 21 contract, which is a teacher, nurse, counselor, all those educational pieces. That's what Chapter 21 means. Contract. And then Tracy Malavets, who keeps us afloat for a non-Chapter 21 contract, and those would both be 2-year contracts.
Any questions or comments on those? I know we saw it in our weekly reminder and I had a chance to look at the agenda beforehand. All right, hearing or seeing no comments, do I have a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendations for administrative contracts?
I'll move.
1 second.
Got a motion for Mr. Mark and a second for Mrs. Fox. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 6-0. All right, next item 7A2 is the consideration and approval of Chapter 21 contracts.
You have an addendum at your places for Rogers High School. The other Chapter 21 contracts that were included in your board package stand as is, and I bring these forward to you as a recommendation from the administration for Rogers ISD.
Any questions on those? Everybody's aware of the change in high school? Clear on that? All right. Let's see, do I have a motion to approve the interim superintendent's recommendations for Chapter 21 contract renewals?
Move.
Mr. Green, moved.
Second.
Second from Mr. Cox. All in favor, show of hands. Motion also carries 6-0. All right, 7A3 is the consideration and approval for the girls' basketball coach.
And I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Rowe.
All right, just going to give y'all kind of how we did the process. Myself and Miss Amanda Dodd, not here anymore, but she, myself, Miss Amanda Dodd, and Miss Smith conducted the interviews. It was a committee interview. So we did that prior to spring break. And I think the person that we're going to recommend, Miss Coach Kim Chaffin, she stood out. I think I can speak for Miss Smith. Her preparation, her professionalism, her knowledge, all stood out. Just her approach to the interview went above and beyond, you know. So I think she's going to be an outstanding addition to our coaching staff and to our teaching staff. Not only coaching, she references I spoke very highly of her classroom, and that stood out as well. It wasn't just an athletics interview. Obviously, there was some teaching type questions throughout the interview. So she passed all of those. She really stood out. So I will recommend that we hire her as the girls basketball coach.
And what will be her teaching field? Do we know yet?
Most likely, it will
Right
be,
now, it is the STEM.
Okay. Because you're certified in a lot of things.
A lot. So she could do English and.
don't say too much.
She's like, shh. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments on that? I think we all
Sounds like you all like them.
You scored.
2 or 3.
Oh, we'll go for 3.
And
It's a long way from me to her, so.
3 with 3.
There you go.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the girls' basketball coach selection committee's recommendation?
A second.
A motion for Mrs. Fox, second for Mr. Shabinka. All those in favor show of hands. All right, the motion carries 6-0. All right, we're quickly around to the consideration and approval of the instructional materials that we just heard about.
The 2 sets of instructional materials are STEM scopes for science for 1st to 5th, I guess K through 5. And then HMH for the ELAR curriculum, and that again would be K through 5. Did I miss anything, Dr. Dockery? Or about to be minted, Dr. Dockery?
It's official now.
It's official.
Yes.
Yay. That's huge. So those are the 2 recommendations from our process.
I did notice that they called you Dr. Dockery earlier. Dockery. Okay, all right, congratulations. All right, any other questions on the instructional materials? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the campus curriculum committee recommendations?
I'll move.
A motion for Mr. Cox and a second for Mr. Green. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 6-0. All right, next one on the agenda is the consideration and approval of the 2024-2025 district calendar.
I'm going to introduce a member of our district site-based team, and she's about to retire, so I thought this would be kind of her last. So anyway, Missy, if you'll come on up. And she's going to walk you through that process for the calendar. And I'll say straight up, I haven't done calendars in a very, very, very long time. I am spoiled rotten. I was in Temple and I had someone that was a guru at it and he did it. So this has been a really sharp learning curve.
And it was rather involved. I mean, we spent a lot of time. The site-based committee consisted of teachers and admin from all campuses and various community leaders. So it was a wide range of people, very well-rounded group. So I have, a survey was conducted. I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to try to memorize it. A survey was conducted. Better get my glasses. Sorry. Hence the retirement. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, back in the fall of 2024, we started working on this calendar. The survey conducted went to the community and the staff, and the results were this. 52% asked to explore a 4-day model. 14% said some adjustments need to be made to what we already have. 30% said stay with it exactly the same, the hybrid that we have. And the remainder said go back to the traditional model. I don't know what percentage that is, but so Mr. Craig left us with the traditional calendar and 2 hybrids. Hybrid A and B, I'm not going to read you the differences. They were very similar. They had a few differences, but really they weren't huge differences. So then back in January, on the 25th, Dr. Battershell met with us, and we talked about many things. The beginning and end of school, professional development, state testing, bad weather days, all sorts of things. So we took all that into consideration and talked about it extensively. We talked about what the elementary needed. We talked about what the middle school needed. We talked about what was good for athletics and football and travel. And so just everything, the length of the school day with the little kids. Anyway, all that into consideration. So 3 options were presented to our committee in February, at the end of February, that you have that in your packet. So the committee narrowed it down to 2 options. This was sent to every staff member, and we all voted on what we thought would be best. After that, Dr. Battershell collected all the data, and option B is what the majority said that they wanted. And there's not a huge difference, a little bit in the length of the school day, but it's pretty close to this. There's not a lot of difference, but anyway, 12 Fridays off throughout the entire year, and the committee recommends option B for your approval. Do you have any questions? I probably cannot answer. But I could try, but it was a lengthy process. And a lot of back and forth dialogue about what was best for elementary, what's best for them looked a little different for what was best for middle and high school, but we did find common ground eventually.
And calendars become a lot more difficult because now it's a minute thing. It used to be a number of days a year, which was so easy. Now it's 75,600 minutes.
Yes.
And how you slice and dice that, how many minutes per day, where your early outs, and you have to have some extra pad in there because you don't know what might happen in a school district, which it's all happened to us this year.
Correct.
So this has a little bit of a pad in there. I think it's 400 and something minutes. So if we need, in addition to the bad weather days.
Right.
So it's a real different beast right now.
I like the fact that we had a little wiggle room with those extra minutes in case something were to go wrong.
And then right now there are 2 professional development waiver days built into the calendar, but you can go up to 5. And so one of the things that we're going to ask you for your approval tonight is to do the entire 5. So if you get into a bind or a pinch next year, that you can, this is what we did for the day that we missed back in, I think, in January and February, is you can make some other PD waiver days in that calendar, and you can do that pretty quickly if you already go ahead and approve that. So you do have some wiggle room in this calendar.
So B is what we came up with for you guys to vote on.
I know we hear a lot about the 4-day, and I know the challenges with it. Did y'all discuss it, and like what is the major downfall? Is it the long days, or the starting early, the ending late, all the above?
That was a lot of it whenever we were going through it, was looking at the littles.
Yeah.
Of how long they would be here, starting, even if we had to start early, we were gonna keep it the same at 7:50, but we weren't getting out till almost 3:55, 4 o'clock.
So then you think about how long they're on the bus. You know, some of our bus routes are really long. And that's just a long day for a 6, 7, 8-year-old. And do the benefits outweigh, the risk reward? I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting in another 5 to 10 years to see where the data shows, has this been beneficial and has there been a learning loss? Because I feel like there's going to be at some point down the road, but you know, I mean, you just don't know.
And then with the middle school, our games start at 4:30. So depending on what time they have to leave, you're missing not only one class, you could be missing 2 classes. If not more, depending on how far you have to travel.
Yeah.
So that length of time also going to 4 o'clock would interfere with those last 2 classes. So it was affecting not only elementary, there were some effects to the middle school as well as the high school.
And there were some effects to athletics.
Well,
Charlie and I talked too, and, you know, when we spoke, you know, our assumption is, as a group was, well, if they have to travel a long way, we want those Fridays off. But when Charlie and I spoke, and he was so spot on, he said, we want our kids at school on those days because we know where they're at. We know that they're gonna get a good meal before they leave. We know they're gonna be there at the end of the day. And so again, there were tons of discussion and thoughts and ideas and pros and cons to things. But I'm gonna come back to that instructional piece.
Okay.
Some of the districts that have done a 4-day week now for 2 or 3 years, their test scores are starting to tank. And I won't name who those are, but and they're not local. But that's something I think that's, you really have to think about that. If you have kids that have a pretty good home life and some stability and constancy at home, it's not as big a deal. But when you have kids that don't have a lot of stability outside of the school day, or their meals may be sketchy and their meals they get may be at school and no other place, then those, you have to really consider that on how that affects your instruction. So we'll see with time, but
I would agree with that completely. And for coaches and administrators, you're not getting that Friday off. I mean, you're working anyway, so that doesn't benefit the administrators. Mr. Beard doesn't get off and the coaches won't. They would, that whole calendar doesn't benefit them at all, so.
Even the Monday, because the
Yeah.
last 2 Mondays,
Yeah.
middle school track. You know, we
Yeah.
had a work day with no kids, but coaches still went to the track meet.
Yeah.
We had Monday off after Easter, coaches still have to go to track meet. So I mean, it doesn't matter, we're still here.
Correct. So option B is your choice that we came up with.
It's only right. I mean, when we were in school, we went 5 days a week. So, you know, I mean, why change it now?
I appreciate hearing everything that went into it.
It was a process.
Yes.
It's a lot
I
of
mean,
work.
and last year was the same way too. It was nice to be able to sit there and work through what it looked like, because sometimes you're just presented a calendar and, you know, there's your options, but talking through it with the community as well, I mean, it did a lot.
And getting other people's perspective, because I mean, we
Reset
all
our-
have our lane that we stay in, and it is nice to sit down with cross campuses and because elementary would say things that we, you know, might not even occur to us or we wouldn't think about, and vice versa.
So have we
That's
done
what's
this in the past? Have we had,
Site-based committee?
yeah, where we get,
I would think so. I mean, I wasn't on it, but it's,
We
yes.
have, we do have the site-based, but not as intense as we have the last 2 years with the 2 calendars. Because we did more intense last year because of teacher shortage.
Mhm.
What could we do
Right.
to be a little
Yeah.
bit different than everybody else?
and everybody was involved? I mean,
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
last year, yeah, because we were trying to find ways to incentivize of getting other staff here while others were doing the 4-day. That long day was not appealing to some, you know, so you hope that they would come this direction and have those Fridays or long weekends or that extra day. And, you know, some people that are not in the district have said, I like that extra day you guys have. That's kind of nice, you know, if we would have had that. So they do like what the calendar looks like outside from us.
And the law dictates that the district site-based, their primary job is the calendar. It's what they do in your policy, your board-approved policy. And it's on the legal side, not the local side. The other part, those district site-based can take you into other fronts too. And I would suggest for the future, a lot of you will probably serve on that in the future. But like this time, it went into that Rogers ISD foundation. So you can really utilize the strengths, harness the strengths of that site base to take you into all kinds of visions that you may have from the community and from the school. So thank you all that served. It's not easy. It's really not easy. It takes a lot of time. But thank you. And thank you for the give and take, because we were not in agreement on a lot of this.
No, yeah, it was a lot of, I mean, it was a lot of give and take.
It was a lot of give and
Yes.
take. Yes, thank you.
And
Yes,
Coach,
ma'am.
if you mind staying up here for a little bit, I hope this is appropriate to maybe appreciation
Yeah,
for Coach D.
thank you, Missy, for
I know
everything.
you've been here a short period of time, but I know all 5 of my daughters have either played for you or been in your classroom, so I think we should congratulate you and hopefully everybody shake your hand, and because I don't know if you'll be back to another meeting. I know you love coming to the meetings, but
It was a large.
we can ask you back, if you want to come back for pictures later again or something. But thank you, like I said. But, we don't want to miss the opportunity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes. No, you can wear this orange shirt now. Yeah,
You want us all to stand?
I would have fixed my hair had I known this was gonna happen.
That's what I said. You want to
just
come
had
back
that
and pictures?
glorious smile, and you don't need
No,
anything else.
I just had my face.
Missy, why don't y'all come this side?
Yes,
Sarah
ma'am.
doesn't-
Oh,
We
yeah.
come to this box over here. We're catering her a lot.
I'm trying to get in the
Yeah, we need to
back.
see you for sure. You're the center of attention.
All right. Everyone ready?
No.
Just like that commercial, you're not supposed to count 1, 2, 3, but I did. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, I got a couple kids that are just are hollering at them at 6 in the morning when they're running in the dark and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Fun. I don't know if Miss, is it Chaffin? Is that your name? Is she gonna?
Miss Chaffin, she set the bar high. You ready?
Yeah. She's gonna be doing the
Coach
cross
Chaffin, I
country,
guess, Coach Chaffin.
hollering at them in the morning. All right. Where am I now? All right.
Approve the
Last
calendar.
one on the action item.
Approval of calendar.
Oh, we still gotta take the motion on, that's right. Forgot about that.
Dang, that was.
All right, any other questions or comments on the calendar? I know it was well thought out and vetted. And not an easy task to put that all together.
It does make it easier going through it one year like that. Seeing how it went and adjustments, but I didn't hear any complaints from my kids for sure. They like those 3 and 4 day weekends sneaking up on them, once a month for sure.
Well, these are spaced out all year long.
Yeah, that's
You know,
nice.
The committee really talked about, giving teachers time to get appointments and things like that. And so it was one reason for not clustering them all in the fall, but putting them throughout the year.
All right, no other questions. Do I have a motion to approve the district site-based committee's recommendation for the 2024-2025 instructional calendar? Motion from Mr. Mark, second, Mrs. Fox. All those in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 6-0. All right. Now we can move on to the last item here, which is the consideration and approval of the 2024-2025 professional development waiver days.
There are 2 that are built into the calendar that you just approved. However, thank heavens that Mr. Craig had gone on and gotten approval for the entire 5 last year, because we ended up needing to get another one so that we didn't have another day at the end of the school year. And so I'm asking you, out of the site base, to recommend all 5. And then that'll give you some wiggle room. You may not use that, but it sure is nice to have it. And this is for us to apply. You can't just approve it and it goes. You can approve that we apply to the Texas Education Agency, and that's what Amanda will do.
All right.
Makes sense.
Do I have a motion to approve the TEA application
I'll move.
5 professional development waiver days for the 2025 school year? Motion for Mr. Cox. Click out the gate. Here's a second.
I'll second.
Second, for Mr. Green. All right, all those in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 6-0. Anybody want to stick around for a while, or if we're ready to go? I got time 7:14.
Record right there.
We can adjourn the meeting.
That goes down in the record book.
That's